Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda and this is my channel, Her Pacific Northwest Washington Life. And today I wanted to share with you my TBR for two separate readathons that I am participating in for the week of June 22nd through the 28th. So the first readathon I heard about was the Camp Bookland readathon being hosted by Paige over at Creating & Co. For those of you that don't know, Creating & Co. is a planner sticker shop, and she does have a lot of bookish items within her shop as well. This is a readathon that's completely free to participate in, but if you would like, you can get the matching sticker kit just if you are a planner person and like to kind of have something special to mark off the week. But the Creating & Co. book club is a group on Facebook that I've been a part of for a year and a half-ish now, and it's a whole lot of fun. We do readathons every other month in this group, and so for June we are visiting camp. So this one's a lot of fun. There's 3 different cabins, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. And then the other readathon that I am participating in is the Visit Hogsmeade Readathon, which is part of the Magical Readathon readathons. So those of you that don't know what the Magical Readathon is, this was something created by G over at Book Roast for basically everybody's love of Harry Potter. In April we sit the OWLs, in August we sit the NEWTs, and for the past 2 years we have been doing a week-long readathon around Christmas time. Actually last year's was a whole month long. And G decided that for June she wanted to visit Hogsmeade because this is the year 3. So we're kind of following along with events that happen in Prisoner of Azkaban, and this is the first year that students are allowed to visit Hogsmeade, which is a lot of fun. If you want to look up any of these readathons on social media, the hashtags are CC Camp Book for the Camp Bookland Readathon, and I'm not entirely sure if the Visit Hogsmeade Readathon has its own like standalone hashtag, but just the generic one is Magical Readathon 2020. And I will leave a link to both Paige's announcement video and the blog post on Creating & Co. down below, as well as G's announcement video where you can get the printable and stuff like that. It's on Google Drive, so very easy to access. So I think I'm going to start with Camp Bookland. For this, it's a little different from what our readathons are normally like. As we're visiting camp, we have 3 different cabins that you can either read all 3 prompts within one cabin, or you can mix and match. I am mostly going to focus on the Magic Seekers cabin just because fantasy is my favorite, but you've got Magic Seekers, Lovebirds, and the Super Sleuths. So kind of have your romance one, your fantasy one, and then you've got your kind of horror one. So each of these cabins has a group read and then 2 additional prompts. So the group read for Magic Seekers is The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. I am not planning on reading any of the group reads just because a lot of the times they're first books in series, and I'm really working to get through the series I've already started. Also, just a big goal that I have this year is to get down my TBRs, both, well, all 3, physical, Kindle, and Audible. So I don't typically go for the group read because it usually is a newer release, but that's for Magic Seekers. Then the next prompt in Magic Seekers is to read a book with a hidden world, and the idea behind this is to pick it's kind of more of like an urban fantasy. So we have our real world here, and then like the world of the Shadow Hunters would be a hidden world from most people and things like that, or like Harry Potter has a hidden world. So for this, and naturally I didn't put my books in order, so we'll do some shuffling, but I picked In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire, which is the 4th book, I think it's the fourth book in the Wayward Children series. And these books follow children who have gone through portals into other worlds. So you can think of like the kids going through the wardrobe into Narnia, or Alice falling down the rabbit hole into Wonderland. So they're portals similar to that. And then it's the kids coming back from those. And essentially, like, they got to go to those different worlds because the worlds knew that's what the kids needed, and they knew that they would fit in perfectly. So coming back in and adjusting to real life, their parents not understanding and other things like that, is a really big adjustment. So these kids end up at Eleanor's home for wayward children, and we get to kind of explore different worlds and learn about different people and all those sorts of things. So I believe this one involves a goblin market, which will be a lot of fun. The next prompt is Nobility. And for this, I am planning to read the 5th book in the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. I started reading this series back in, I want to say 2016, and I got through the 4th book, and then the 5th book wasn't published yet, so I stopped reading them and didn't follow with the publication dates, and decided that I wanted to reread the first 4 books so that I could finally finish the series. So this is where we are. The Fallen Kingdom series is it's a fantasy series. And you've got these 3 countries that are all a part of one land. You have Limeros in the north, Pelsia in the center, and then Aranos in the south. And the king of Limeros is called the King of Blood, and he has been prophesized to basically be the most powerful king and ruler of the world. And so he then begins to conquer the other lands that are a part of Minica. And it's kind of that story. We follow multiple characters' points of views and just get to go on different adventures and things like that. There's also these things called the Watchers, which are a myth within this land. And we've got these stones called the Kindred that house the 4 main elements, which are fire, air, earth, and water. So lots of good things that go on in this series. And I'm really looking forward to finally finish off the series as well. So in the Lovebirds cabin, the group read is Bringing Down the Duke. The next prompt is an illustrated cover. And the last prompt is Indie Author. And then for Super Sleuths, the group read is The Sundown Motel. Then a book with a disappearance. And the last prompt is Twist Ending. So I'm sure I could fit a couple of these books within, but and you can double up and triple up however much you want, but I kind of want to stay more on theme with what the different cabins are. So for Magic Seekers, I want to read only fantasy books. For Lovebirds, I would like to read like only contemporaries and romance, and then for Super Sleuths, I'd like to read only like horror, thriller, mystery, and stuff like that. So I don't have any books picked for the other cabins, just because I know that I would be a part of the Magic Seeker cabin. So now visiting Hogsmeade. This is so much fun sounding. Basically, the only big rule is that you have to start at number 1 because we didn't get our parents' permission to go into Hogsmeade, so we have to use the Marauders map. Other than that, as per usual with the magical readathons, you can't double up or triple up in these. So there are 10 different shops or restaurants, stores, sort of things that you can visit within Hogsmeade, and there's a prompt for each one, so you just need to pick a different book for each prompt. I will probably only get through 3 to 5 of these, and I don't really, other than the books that I have that line up with the Camp Bookland prompts, I don't really have a plan of attack or anything for this. It's just going to be whatever I can fit in with my reading, basically. So the first location, obviously, is Marauder's Map, and this is just to read a book with a map in it. And for this, I have Crystal Storm to fit in that slot, since it has a map of Mythica right here. It's actually, yeah, that's only one map. So yeah, that's the one I've got for that. That'll be what I start out with. And then the second shop is the three, well, it's not a shop, but it's the Three Broomsticks. So this is to read a book that's part of a trilogy. It doesn't have to be the last book in the trilogy. It doesn't have to be the first book in the trilogy. It can just be a part of any trilogy. And for this, I have slated The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, which is the third book in the Mistborn First Era trilogy. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get to this book before the readathon starts. I think I'm going to try, just because these are typically around like the 25-hour mark for audiobooks, and I don't think I'll be able to get through it in 1 week and still have time to move on to another one. So I would like to use my time as wisely as possible, but this is what I've got in place if I'm able to use it. Let's see. Mistborn, you've got a mix of magic, which is really interesting. It uses metals, so people can burn these metals, and they are either mistings or mistborns. Mistings can use one type of metal, and mistborns can use all of them. There's also some court and political intrigue in this, which I think is really nice to kind of break up the world, and lots of other interesting things. So I am really looking forward to finishing out the Mistborn First Era with Hero of Ages. The next place you can visit is Madame Puttyfoot's, and this is just a prompt of to start a book with tea. So this can be any book, just with a cup of tea. And for this, I have planned to read In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire. I'm one of those people that likes the process of making tea, and then I always, I like drinking it, but I always forget to drink it while it's warm, and it always gets cold, so I usually have to reheat my tea like 3 or 4 times while I'm drinking it. But I figured this would be a nice short book that I could remember to start with tea, but hopefully we'll see. The next location is the Hogsheade, and this prompt is to read a book that is not the most popular. I think just to kind of help you figure that out, it would be a book with fewer than 10,000 ratings on Goodreads. So I have planned to read The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm by Christopher Paolini, because I'm also participating in the Make Your Myth Taker Readathon, which spans the whole month, and this will be the last book that I need to finish for the path that I'm taking, and I figure that'll probably be during the 4th week of June. This one, I believe, has 11 or 12,000 ratings on Goodreads. I'm going to count it anyway, though, because I feel like the people who were most excited about this were the ones that kind of grew up reading the Aragon series. Sorry, I just finished rereading The Lord of the Rings. And then I felt like there was a lot of hype around this when it was first released, because people were excited to kind of be brought back into that world. But since then, I really haven't heard much about this, so I don't think it's one of the most hyped books. So that's what I'm going to use to fill that category. And then we come to Honeydukes, and the prompt for this is to read a book with a pink or green cover. I think you can also do a book with sweets or like treats or something on the cover as well. So for this, I'm probably not going to get to it if I'm being completely honest, but I am a part of another book club in the Facebook group realm, whatever. It's the B&P, or the Books and Planners book club, that is run by my friend Darshell over at Books and Planners. And the group read for June is The Summer of Chasing Mermaids, which has a pink circle on the cover, and it's also got like little things in the sand that are different colors, so I thought that might fit. The next shop is Zankos, and this is just to read a humorous book. And I was thinking of reading Stephen Fry's Victorian Secrets, which is a book I picked up on Audible, I think in like the member deals or something like that. And I'm pretty sure Stephen Fry is funny, so I think this could be humorous. I also thought it was kind of fitting since he does narrate the UK versions of Harry Potter. So I thought it'd be nice. Next we have the Shrieking Shack, and this is to read a horror or thriller. I probably won't get to this either because I am a little bit of a chicken. Also, summertime is not really like the time that I would be inclined to pick up a book of these genres. But if I do, I was planning to read Never to Return Again, which is a collection of unusual tales by Christine Makepeace, who is a woman that I used to work with. And I picked this up a couple years ago. She signed it for me, and I believe there's 8 different tales within this that will probably be a little spooky to me. I don't think this is like officially a horror or thriller, but for me it's gonna count because like I said, I'm a chicken. The next prompt or shop is it's Scriven Chefs, which I believe is like an ink or paper stationery shop. And this is to read a book with a person of color author. And for this, I was planning to read Lion by, I believe it's Saru Bradley. I know it's his, it'd be autobiography. Biography. The other title for this is called A Long Way Home, and this is the true story of Saru when he was younger. He got separated from his brother and in India, and ended up being adopted by a couple in Australia. And I think after he is 18, I don't know what high school levels are in Australia, but I believe he's in college when he wants to start looking into his past and find out more about himself and things like that. I've never read this book, but I did watch the movie, I think when I was either going to or coming home from Scotland a couple years ago, and I really enjoyed it, so I thought it would be really neat to actually read the book as well. Then we come to Owl Post, and this is to read the last book you got in the post. And for this, I believe the last book I got was Cider House Rules by John Irving. I had this in my bi-monthly TBR for May and June. Didn't get through it in May, and I'm not entirely sure I'm going to get to it in June. It is a little chunky, so I don't think I'm going to get to it in a week. I think I'll probably push this one to July. But again, another movie I've seen that I enjoyed, and I haven't read the book yet, so I would really like to get to that. And the last place to visit is a shop that I don't think I've heard of, but it's Dervish and Bangs. And the prompt for this is to read a steampunk book, and I was planning to read Heartless by Gail Carriger, which is the 4th or 5th, I think it's the 4th book, and the Parasol Protectorate series, which is a steampunk series that takes place in kind of an alternate London with werewolves and vampires and lots of like mechanical inventions and things like that. So that'll be another audiobook if I am able to get to it. But those are all the books that I have planned to read the last week of June, We'll see how many I'm able to get through. I do weekly vlog, so I will have this as a vlog from start to finish. So if you'd like to watch that, just look out for it. And yeah, I think that's about it. I would love to know if you're planning on participating in either one or both of these readathons. And if so, if you, what you plan to read. I would also love to know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were on them. So if you feel so inclined, please do let me know down in the comments below, and I will chat with you there until my next video. Bye!